Look, I was just saying, hey, and my mic was muted. How are you?
Hey, I'm good.
Okay, I'm just
It happens all the time. Don't
yeah,
feel bad.
everyone. This is Miranda Evans. I was telling them about you because I was giving them the prefix to day one and day two. She is
Mhm.
she is a young woman. She is a author. She is the founder of the Trouble Movement, and she helps young people. She is an accountant. She just opened her own financial company. She's also an author, and she is also a publisher, and she's an owner of a publishing company. Does that say the basis of who you are? But she's more than
Yes.
that. She has a whole story that a lot of women in the Black community can, attest to say, hey, look, I've been there. She's really grew from the things that she's been through. She has a book called Trouble. She also has a book called One Flesh. Did I leave one out?
Renewed strength
Renewed
is the
Strength.
second
Okay,
one.
and I'm going to give you the floor because yeah, she's just a
It's a lot.
whole power.
Um,
She can
Marissa, it's up to you, however you want to do it.
no, you have the floor.
I was asking that, yeah, however, if you want to cut it on, if you can cut it on, if not, it's okay. So yes, hello everybody. I am Maranda Evans, as she already stated everything about me. Thank you very much for that wonderful introduction. And thank you for having me. So I wanted to come on here and talk about nonprofit management as well as publishing and writing, which is really ironic because for me, they go hand in hand because my nonprofit started from my book. So I'll tell a little bit of that backstory and then I'll kind of go into like the basis of writing and publishing as well as the basis of nonprofit management. So when I was in undergrad, when I graduated from undergrad, I wrote my first book called Troubled. And it's my life story. It's my story on abuse, how I survived sex abuse. I lost my dad when I was 11. I lost all of the father figures and male role models in my life at a young age. And I was a promiscuous teenager. I had broken relationships in high school and college. So when I left college, I went to Sam Houston, eat 'em up cats. When I left college, I decided like I just had this heavy weight on my shoulders, and I was like, I didn't know what it was, and it was just kind of dragging and holding me down. And so I just woke up in the middle of the night and I just started writing because I was always a person who liked to journal. So I would journal my whole life, like every day I would journal whatever my day was about. If my mom made me mad, I would journal. Going on, I would journal. So I literally just wrote this big journal starting from day one when I was 11 in 2004, and my dad was murdered, all the way up until graduating from Sam Houston. And I just wrote and wrote and wrote for about 2 weeks straight. It's like I couldn't stop. So when I finally stopped and I realized how long it was, I was like, oh man, like what am I supposed to do with this now? Because it was never my intention to write a book. And I didn't know anything about writing a book. I was just journaling except on Word. And I looked at some books. I said, wait a minute, well, I can make this a book. Like, I think I can pull this off. So I just learned from looking at other books and reading other books, and I kind of just formatted it based on how other books were written. Again, I did not know what I was doing. So I ended up doing that and I came out with the original version. And then later on, I revamped it because it was just me at first. And then I met my mentor, who was already a published author, and she kind of showed me the way and gave me the tips. She gave me all of her contacts, her editor, her cover designer, and I redid the book. So you may see a green version of it and you may see a white and red version of it. So the green one is the original. And so I decided to name it was Life of a Troubled Teen at first, but then me and my cousin decided that Troubled was just, that was it. And so from there, I published this book, and then I had a lot of women that were coming to me, telling their story and telling me how their story was similar to mine, and asking me how did I have the courage to write my story like that. So I realized, and then we had an event, and Christian Simmons, that's on there, that is actually my vice president of the Trouble Movement and my publicist. So we ended up having an event, and it was my first event that I put together, and it was like sold out, like people were standing up, and it was called Woman to Woman. So I was doing these events and I was helping young people, helping young women. And so I'm like, well, okay, I can do more with this. And the Trouble Movement was actually a hashtag. So the name of my nonprofit was actually just a hashtag for me to promote the book, because I would always just say Troubled, it's a movement. Like I just kept saying it's a movement. And the more I kept saying it, the more I realized like it really is a movement. The more I started to tap into my purpose and my goals of what it is that I wanted. And so I had this big idea, and at first it was just like a business. It was ran like a business. And once I started actually paying attention to the things, again, now I didn't know anything about nonprofits. This is like 2014, 2015, probably about 2015. So, I mean, I'm just doing stuff on the fly. Like literally I'm going on the fly with no knowledge. Everything I learned, I've researched myself. So my grandmother passed away in 2016, July 2016. And that's who my publishing company is named after. It's Victorian Publishing, because that was her name. And I think my way to handle grief was to do something, because she was like my biggest supporter when it came to my book. And so I always knew that if she passed away or if something happened, even if she was still here, that I wanted to name something after her. Like I wanted to create something for her legacy. And it's like she passed away and my mind just automatically went into, I'm gonna make a nonprofit. And I was like, if it walks like a nonprofit, talks like a nonprofit, might as well be a nonprofit versus it being a business. And it originally started with 7 people. I just got 7 people together and I was like, hey, I want to start a nonprofit. Now, granted, it was people that I trusted. And I just like, again, not knowing what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm really just like doing stuff. Like I'm literally going off the fly based on like Google and whatever else I knew as far as like on the accounting side. And I got people together and I created the Trouble Movement. October 5th, 2016, we became a 501c3 nonprofit organization. And that was me. Basically, I turned a book into a movement. I actually just posted a picture and that was my caption. I turned a book into a movement. Call me Madam President. I feel like that would be a cold rap line. It really would. That'd be cold. I got bars, y'all. So that's literally how that happened. So I didn't expect for a book to become an actual nonprofit. At first, for helping women, it was just young girls. And then as we grew, maybe like a year, about a year in, I started to bring on teen boys. And I started helping teen boys because I realized that it's not just about the girls. Like girls need help too, but so do these boys. And I work very well with teen boys. I had 8 mentees at one time. 2 of them are boys, because a lot of them, even though they do need male role models and male figures, a lot of them are also lacking affection as well. So with me and my personality, because I'm affectionate, but I'm kind of tough love type, I can kind of give both. So I prefer to mentor young boys. So I wanted both. I didn't want it. I feel like, and some may not agree with this, but I feel like a lot of organizations are geared towards women. And I'm all for women empowerment, but I think sometimes we may forget about our little Black boys. And it was important to me that we bring them in. And now the Trouble Movement has more boys than it does girls. So that is how the Trouble Movement started. It was a book, and then I made it into a movement. So when you're, so I'll ask this question. Has anybody ever thought about writing a book? Has that ever came across your mind in any, just even for like a quick second?
Me, I'm working on 3 right now.
3 at one time?
Yep.
Nice. That's a lot of dedication and hard work. 3 at one time is a lot of dedication and hard work. Okay, Catherine said
Pause
yes.
in between though, with pause in between.
Huh?
I have pauses in between. I have pauses in between writing them, so because of work and everything.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. I'm gonna give some tips on that too. I'm actually gonna give some tips on that. Catherine said yes. Larissa said me, but that what? Dream came and went. Oh no, we gotta go catch it.
It's all right. It's repackaged in other ways.
Okay.
Keep talking, and I might change my mind.
I was gonna say no. We got to go catch that. It went, but we got to go get it back. Okay. Catherine wants to write a book as well. Okay. Yes. So I asked another question. Do you guys journal? Yes, I journal. Okay. Larissa, and are you journaling? Is that do you journal?
Not really.
Not really?
Mm-mm.
You should try journaling. It helps. It's not, and then when you can do like prompted journals, you can just like write down your day or something like that. It doesn't work for everybody, but for me, I know it works really well for me. Um, I have multiple journals. I have a different journal for different things. So I have a vision board binder. Shout out to Christian who created this vision board binder idea. I have a spiritual journal where I'll do Bible studies and stuff like that. I have a travel journal. So I have journals for different things, but that's just because I'm an avid journaler. And it helps because I don't always talk about my issues. So journaling just kind of gets me through it. And it helps to practice your writing. So for those who, and I'm starting with the writing first, and then I'll kind of go into the nonprofit part. But for those who are interested in writing, or if you know anyone that's interested in writing, I did a workshop or I did a 3-part training on it. It starts with just writing. So the thing that people don't realize is that when they want to write a book, they're so focused on it has to be this many pages. I have to have it this long. It has to be this. And they're overwhelmed because they don't know exactly what goes into it. That's what happened with me. I didn't know how to write a book. I knew nothing about it. I didn't even know who to go to write a book. I had no idea what I was doing. I went based on what I read. And I was a big reader. Okay, Tanya, I just saw you wanted to write a book too. Okay, perfect. I got a bunch of book writers on there. that works perfect. So for those who are writing books or want to write a book, then just start writing. That's the number one advice I give. The first step is to actually just start writing. Don't worry about like the editing part of it. Don't worry about the publishing part of it. Don't worry about all of that because then you'll get overwhelmed if you do that. So just write. Decide whatever it is you're going to write about. So if you're going to write about your story, then just start writing out your story. If you want to write out, if you want to do a self-help book, just start writing notes on different things that you want to do that self-help wise. So with Renewed Strength, it's a self-help, but I call it a motivational manual. I don't like the word self-help. That's just me. But Survivor is an acronym. And for each letter in Survivor is a different step to becoming a survivor. So the way I started it was I came up with the acronyms first, and then I went from there. So if you want to do a self-help book, then start with the topics that you want to hit. Like just do kind of like an outline or a draft. And then once you come up with those topics, then write it out from there. You want to do a children's book, those are usually the easiest because they're easy and they're hard. You got to come up with the graphics, but it's harder because you don't have to type in words. If you want to do like there's a fiction book, then starting like your characters and your outline and your story timeline, like how do you want this story to go? And most importantly, when you're writing, think about what do you want the author to take away from this book? When they finish reading this book, what do you want them to feel like? What is the last thing you want them to remember? So what is the takeaway? And once you realize what the takeaway is, then it'll help you write it. As far as titles go, you don't have to title a book right away. I always tell people, unless your book is strictly based off of the title, I always say come up with the title last, because the title is just a summary of the book. It's describing your book in 1 to 3 words. And I say 1 to 3 words because long titles can sometimes not be appealing. So you want to try to keep it short. Like, again, mine was The Life of a Troubled Teen. That's too long. So we decided we just want to do trouble because that's more eye-catching. That's more, it's like, oh, troubled. I like that. So it's okay to come up with your title after the fact. So these are things that people are thinking while they're trying to write books, they overcomplicate the situation. So for Catherine and Tanya, and you guys don't want to write books, I don't know how far you are in your writing process, but just focus on that part first. And once you get that part down, then you're ready for next steps. And like she said, take breaks in between. Don't try to write books fast. Don't try to write too many books at one time. I personally tell people, don't write too many books at one time. You can write them, but take them one at a time. So I'll have a client, one of my publishing clients, who will write a book release the book, and then want to write another one like right after that and release it. That's not really a smart way as far from a marketing standpoint and from just the energy that it takes out of you. Let that first book kind of soar and be its own person before you add another one on top of it. And I know a lot of times if you're telling your story, you might have to pause depending on how your story is. I had a young lady who wrote her story and she was a domestic violence victim. So there were a lot of times when she had to kind of step back because it became too much for her. So there's no rush on it. Don't rush yourself. Make sure you just let it flow. And I always say your environment matters. So when you're writing, pay attention to your surroundings. I write the best when I'm away from Houston because I'm away from work. I like nature. So right where I might go to water, or I might take a trip to Colorado in the mountains or somewhere where it's quiet. That's when I do my best writing. That's why I'm a night owl, because I write best when everything is quiet. So find a place of peace where you can write and you can focus. Because if your mind is cluttered and you're not in a calm or peaceful mind state, it will show in your writing. So that's another tip as far as the writing process goes. And then you will go into editing. Now, rules on, well, first, before I get to the editing and then lastly, the publishing part, are there any questions on the writing section that you guys have that I may not have answered? You? Okay. And if y'all have questions, y'all can just feel free to put them in the chat. I have it open so I can see them. Yeah, or y'all can cut me off at any time. So once you finish your writing stage, then you want to go into editing. Rule number 1, do not try to edit your book yourself. You can proofread it yourself. You're going to be a part of the editing process. But the main mistake I made with my first book is I edited myself. And I did it like 10 times thinking that that was going to catch every mistake. That's not the case. Because you don't know, like you need someone who knows how to edit a book, which also goes into get a book editor. Don't, like, you can have a close friend that might be an English teacher, or you might have somebody that's really good at writing essays. You can know somebody with a PhD in literature. Get someone who is trained and properly knows how to edit a book, because book editing is way different. Like it's way different. So you can edit it yourself, proofread it yourself, but please reach out to a professional editor to edit your book, preferably me, but you know, shameless plug. So that it could be edited right. Because what you don't want, which I've seen a lot, is that you will see a book and it has so many mistakes. And me being an editor now, I've been editing books for, I'd say maybe about 4 years, 4 or 5 years, because it's 2021. And then my publishing company came out. But I have this eye for everything. So anytime I read a book, I always catch every little mistake, and it drives me crazy because I'm like, no, this should say this, this should say this. So there will be some mistakes in there, like you may have a missing period or something. But when a book constantly has mistakes, it drives me so crazy. And I'm like, why didn't they get somebody to edit this? Because 9 times out of 10, that person either didn't have a good editor or they tried to edit it themselves. And that's not how it works. Because you will have your friends and your family support you and buy your book just out of support. But if you want to take your books to the next level, then you have to make sure they're professionally done. And don't stress yourself over editing. So if you're writing and you're like, wait, no, that don't sound right. Should this be this? Should I put this sentence here? Should I put this sentence here? Don't worry about that, because the editor's job is to go in and reformat your book the way it should be formatted in order to be published. And they do all of the legwork. All you have to do is write. Once you write and then you come to somebody like me, I do all the legwork. I do all the editing. I do all the structure. I do all of the dialogue to make sure that it's accurate and it's written accurately. So don't stress yourself over that part, because that is another thing that people do. They get overwhelmed thinking that they're writing something wrong. Because if you come to me, then I will tell you this, you might not want to say this, you might want to say this. So don't worry about that part either. You have a hard time leaving your office to go. Girl, me too. Okay. So I have that problem. I actually have an office space right across the street, and I don't go over there. I stay at my house. I don't understand it. But you have to tap, because your mind is always on work. And by work, I'm assuming you're meaning like you're at different work instead of you trying to get comfortable and write your book. So what you have to do is you have to, first of all, you have to be good at scheduling, and you have to prioritize. And so you take time to say, okay, I'm gonna focus on my book right now, and then put everything to the side. So it got to a point for me where I had to actually start scheduling everything in. So from this time to this time on this day, I'm gonna write, which is usually why most of my writing I've had to travel, because I can't, in Houston, I work way too much to focus. So the way to break out of that is to, you have to try really hard and use your intention and use your purpose, because you say to yourself, okay, I want to write this book. If you're passionate about writing that book, you're going to find a way. But you have to tap into that. If you don't tap into it, you're not going to do it. So you have to remind yourself, I really want to get this out. Like, I really want to finish this book. I really want to do this. And once you're passionate about it, break everything away. It's easier said than done, but you'll feel it. And you kind of just have to be really aggressive about it, and you have to stand strong in it. So whenever you have some downtime, or plan some downtime, like, hey, I'm going to go to Starbucks today and write this book. Everything else doesn't matter. Cut your calendar off, cut your phone off. First of all, if you're writing, your phone shouldn't be on anyway. Let me just say that. Cut technology and writing, no, you have to cut everything off when you're writing, because writing is creative and it comes from a creative mind. So you can't have any distractions, even when you're editing. So Christian knows all the time, if I'm editing, my phone is nowhere near me, because she may call and I'm like, hey, I'm editing. And once I'm in edit mode, I can't focus on anything else. So schedule a day, and it helps if you schedule it ahead of time, but schedule a day and say, hey, on this day, we'll say, let's just say July 16th. And I know it's the workshop week, but I'm just hypothetically saying July 16th, I'm going to focus on writing my book. I don't want to focus on nothing else. That's what you do, so that on that day, you already planned it ahead of time. You take your laptop and your tablets or whatever you need, go to a coffee shop, go to a park, or whatever is your happy space, whatever is a comfortable space for you, and start writing. And even if you gotta, if you have to leave your phone at home, all that, no work, like no work. Yeah, get you a planner. Like I got so many planners, y'all. It makes no sense. I wish I could see. Oh, hold on. I wish I could see the back of my thing. But that's what you. Hold on, I'm sorry, 1 second. Now it's gonna bother me because I gotta show y'all at this point. Okay, so excuse my junky house, but I'm doing this for a reason. This is my office area that I can never get out of in my home when there's an office across the street. But you see that whiteboard and that calendar? That is what I do. So that is a method that I use for writing. Or anything. So if I have to schedule anything, or if I know I need to do something, then I write it right there, and I can see it. And I have a planner where I'll schedule out the things that I need to do in my planner. And I have an app where I'll put stuff in my app. So you have to, and it helps if you get something big, or even if you write it on a big piece of paper, or put it somewhere like on your computer or on your refrigerator, somewhere you go all the time that says, hey, you need to write today. Hey, you need to write today. And also get an accountability partner. That helps too. So with my clients, right, Catherine. So with my clients, once you're my client, even if you come to me and say, because I have clients who haven't even begun writing yet, I'll say, hey, are you writing? I'll give you a little time, but I'm very overbearing, and it's not to be mean, it's just to hold you accountable. And I'm like, what have you written today? How far are you in your writing? What are you doing? Why are you not writing? And that accountability helps. So you have to find somebody that's gonna hold you accountable for you to finish it. Like, hey, did you schedule your time for writing? And if you schedule it out, like even if you just say, I'm gonna write a couple pages this day, or make a goal, I'm gonna write 5 pages a week. Make those kind of goals. Be intentional about it. That's how you can break out of that. Because if you're just constantly on the go and you're not planning for it, then you won't finish it. And so, let's see, did I miss something? Okay. So yes, get your planner. And even if you have to get a planner or get you get a planner for different things. I have like 5 planners. I don't know what's wrong with me, y'all. I think I got a condition. I think it's something wrong with me. Like I'm addicted to pens, planners, and journals. I don't know. It's a thing. But even if you have to get a planner for different things, or a journal for like I have a tablet for TTM, I have a tablet for the publishing company, I have a tablet for the accounting company. Like even if you have to do it like that, you have to do whatever works best for you because different things work for different people. See, 5 like that's me. I literally have a stack of notebooks that I will use for different things because I need things to be separated because I'll forget what stuff is. Like it's a horrible thing. 40 journals and 6 planners. Like that's me and a bunch of books. Like I have so many books. It's ridiculous. Like somebody please don't let me buy no more books. Y'all gotta hold me accountable. But that's where you start with that. And then once you finish your writing stage and your first draft, then you go into finding an editor, and then you go into publishing. Once editing is done, then you can go into your publishing stage. And your publishing stage is consisted of many things. There's multiple ways you can publish. You can self-publish through yourself. You can go through Amazon. Obviously, we don't like Amazon. That's a whole conversation in itself. But you can, if you have a brand, so say for instance, Mend the Vow is already a brand. So if you have a brand or a website already, then you can sell your book on your website or do it that way. I personally did it that way. Now that I have a publishing company, I have an actual bookstore on my publishing website where I have my books that I sell. I may have clients' books that I sell because some of them may also go through me as a publishing company and decide to just sell their books through my company. Now, you retain all copyrights. So make sure also, because you have self-publishing and you have traditional publishing. So self-publishing, know that you're going to do all of the work. You're going to do the marketing, you're going to do the sales, you're going to mail out the books, you're going to take the orders, you're going to do everything yourself if you're self-publishing, unless you use Amazon, which you still have to market your own book. If you do traditional publishing through a traditional publishing company, then they do most of the work for you. Aside from, of course, you're still going to have to market. So for instance, one of my clients or a couple of my clients, they sell their book on my website because they may not have a brand or they may not have a website. So you can go to victorianpublishing.com, purchase the book. I send the book out and send them their payment. So, and then just be mindful of, if you're doing traditional publishing, be mindful of the things that people will do, because you'll have people that says, hey, can you pay me $5,000 up front? No. Anytime you have to pay up front for somebody to publish your book, don't do it. Because the point is, either you go to them and say, like for me, that's why I'm a smaller, more self-published publishing company, because you come to me and say, hey, I want to publish to your company. I'm going to give you all the rights to it. You're going to get at least 70 to 80% of your royalties from it. I'm not going to ask you for no money up front. Most of these, I've seen so many people come to me in tears because they trusted somebody to publish their book, gave them money, and their book was stolen or their copyright was stolen. Like these things happen. So you have to be careful. Do your research. Go with somebody that you can trust. Because anytime you have to pay up front for a book publisher or anything like that, don't do it. They're supposed to come to you and offer you a proposal. So the self-publishing route or the traditional publishing route is definitely the two. And if you have any questions on publishing, or if you want to edit or you want me to help write your book, then, let me know, reach out to me. And somebody might ask you a question and you say, hey, Miranda, does this sound right? I will gladly tell you yes or no. Because I would hate for anybody to get into something that they shouldn't be in. So those are my things on writing and publishing, and then going into nonprofit management, because again, my book went from a book to a nonprofit, is if you're thinking about starting a nonprofit or if you're planning on starting a nonprofit, just make sure the best tips I can give you is to find you a good team. You don't need a big team. My worst mistake was when I first started, I had 7 board members. Worst mistake. It was way too many people. Now I have 3. And those 3 are way more powerful than the 7 that I had. So make sure you find people you can trust and that are not friends or family. Try to stay away from friends or family unless it's a friend you know can separate business from personal. So make sure you find a team that you can trust, that's going to be your board, and that's going to understand your mission and see your vision and your purpose. Once you have that, that is also something I do. I help people put their nonprofits together. I help people put their businesses together. I do all of that. So I can help with that as well. If you have questions like, how can I start this nonprofit? You can reach out to me about that. But the main advice is to find people you can trust. Remember your vision, remember your purpose, because it is not easy to have a nonprofit. Everything is about marketing. Everything is you're bringing in money. You have to always bring in money. There's going to be times where you don't have any money. 75% of nonprofits fail within the first 1 to 2 years because of funding. So it's going to be very complicated. It's not easy trying to run one, but I promise it's the best feeling in the world if it's coming from your heart. TTM is very hard to run, but I love my babies. So I know that I'm doing my God-given purpose, and that's what keeps me going. There have been times where I had to step down, like I need a break, I can't do this, and Christian might have to step in. But at the end of the day, it's still my baby. I still love my purpose. I still love what I'm doing. These kids need us so much. Whatever your nonprofit mission is, whether you want to help the homeless, whether you want to help abuse victims, just keep that purpose in your heart. If you can keep that in your heart, you can get through the tough part. And you have a good team. So have your good team, know what you want, be clear about what your mission is going to be. If you're going to help homeless people, focus on just helping homeless people. Don't try to do 3 million missions in one nonprofit. Don't say, I want to help homeless people, but then I want to help abuse victims, and then I want to help kids, and then I want to do mentoring, and then I want to do, like, don't try to do too much. And even if you have multiple programs like we do, they still need to come back to the center. So yes, we have an education program. Yes, we have a mentoring program. And yes, we help abuse victims. But at the end of the day, it all comes back to us helping teens or young adults. It's just in different ways. So make sure that your mission and your vision is clear. And then all of the legal paperwork, again, I would probably have to help y'all with that on the side because there's so much that goes into it. Marketing, you have to market your nonprofit. Me, I'm not a marketing guru. I'm an accountant. I'm good with numbers and money. So outsource your your marketing, or find somebody who can help you market. We use House of Untamed Marketing. Sheridan LeBay is our marketing person for TTM. Find somebody that can help you with your marketing, because if your marketing isn't good, you're not going to bring in any income. You're not going to bring in any donations or any grants or anything like that, because you have to be visible. Like, a lot of people donate to TTM because they can see what we're doing in the community. And if people can't see what you're doing, they're not going to give to it. So it's all about your marketing. They need to see that what they're giving their money to is actually doing something in the community and actually being effective, and not just taking money just because. So you want to build that trust through marketing and through relationships. So all of that kind of is separate, but for me, it kind of goes into one. Now, is there any questions? I know that was a lot I threw on y'all like that, but yeah. I would say it on publishing, writing, nonprofits, anything. Hopefully we went and got Larissa's writing motivation back. She said it went, so hopefully it came back. Larissa, try it. Just start writing and let me know how you feel. Is that your Instagram name?
Yes, ma'am, Larissa Lucille.
Okay, so I'm gonna slide in your DMs. It's cool.
Do it.
All right, I'm gonna slide in your DMs. It's fine. I'm just gonna bug you. Like, did you do it?
We'll see.
Any questions? No questions? Christian, what are you doing? Would you like to say something? She knew I was gonna pick on her. Okay. Well, since y'all don't have any questions, I will leave you with a little bit of.
I have a question.
Okay,
I want to know what are the steps after you go into, okay, I'm done with the book. Then how can, I know we can get in contact with you and everything, but what is the steps of like sending the manuscript, and doing things of that nature to you?
Okay, so what will happen is you finish writing your book, and then you reach out to me and you send your original draft. So editing is done in 3 parts. So you send me the first rough draft, and then you do what's first called an extensive edit. So that's when I go in and I change your formatting, your structure. I read through it to make sure that the story you're trying to tell makes sense, that your everything about your book is lined up correctly, depending on what your genre is. And then I go in and fix punctuation, grammar, all that. Then I'm gonna put comments. It's kind of like track changes. I don't know if anybody's familiar with track changes, but I'll put comments like, hey, you should probably change this to this. You should change this to this. And then I send it back so that you can make the corrections. And then you send it back to me and I do it again, except on paper. So it's a 3-part thing. So we go back and forth. So you're helping in the editing process. You're just not doing it on your own. And then once you finish editing, that's when we start talking about publishing in print. I'm contracted with a printing company, like an actual book printing company. So once we finish the editing part, then that's when we go into printing the books. And while we're in editing, you need to be working on your cover design, which I have a cover designer on my team. You need to be working on your marketing. I have a marketing person on my team, and you need to be working on your book launch or your event. And that is where Christian comes in, because she is also on my team. She is an event planner and coordinator. So she is the person that you would contact if you want to prepare for your book launch. Your book launch is very important. Your marketing is very important. So while the editing is happening, then you need to start working on your marketing, your book launch planning, your cover design, while I'm working on it. Now, I usually say, what's your release date? Whatever your release date is, we work backwards from there. So if your release date is in November, then we need to get started like right now. And then by November, you'll be ready to go. So it's you write, we edit, mostly me, and then we talk about printing and publishing. So those are the big like 3 steps. Let me see. And if you, that is my publishing company website. So if you am I able to share my screen?
I'll make you I'll add that right now for you, right?
Okay. I was going to show y'all.
Did you get it?
Yeah. Okay. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Is it the Victorian Publishing website?
Yes.
Okay. So this is my bookstore. So when you go to our website, this is all the books that we have. These are like my training courses and stuff that I have. I have manuals for $10 where you can learn the writing process, the editing process, and the publishing process in full detail. It is everything you need. And you can also order the recordings for the training. So what would happen is if you go through me, you would be on this page right here. Also, what I do, if people do decide to go and do their books on their own brand, I always add them here. So these are some of the books that I've edited or that I've published or helped in some way, and then I'll link it to their website. So like this cover right here, my cover designer did that. I did her editing. Here's a children's book we did. Here's a devotional that we did, and a poetry book, journal, so on and so on. And so those are pretty much, this is kind of like what it entails, the services. I'm sorry about my big face, y'all. Graphic designer, my marketing person, and then Christian is our event planner. So that's where you'll find that information. And then our services are editing. I do everything from editing to Amazon, ebook conversion. I do ghostwriting. I do book makeovers. So say for instance, you've already written and published your book. Then you want to kind of make it over or revamp it or do a little something different to it, then I do book makeovers as well. Because don't think you can't. I did it. Remember, the trouble was green at first. So don't think just because a book is already out that you can't revamp it, because you can. And then along with also publishing, like this is the full package publishing, you want to get your copyright license, your ISBN, and your barcode registration. So that's also done through me. Again, throughout this whole time, everything is in your name. You retain all copyright. Only thing I do is I put my logo really, really small on the title page. Everything else is completely under you. And let's see, I see a chat message. So that's the website that you can go to. Then you can email me. I love it. My publishing company means everything to me. I don't know why I'm getting emotional when I want to talk about this. I never do that. Because again, of my grandmother. Like my grandmother was when I first came out with that book, she was 80-some years old. She literally, if you walked through the door, you would have to buy a book. Like that was the agreement. And she would like pull them out of her china closet, like, hey, my granddaughter wrote this book, it's $10. You want to get one? Like she was selling them like bootleg CDs out the back of a trunk. So I really knew, I was like, okay, I have to start this publishing company. And there's not very many Black publishing companies in the country. Believe it or not, I promise y'all it's under 10. 10. Like that's how low the numbers are, because everything is Harper and Collins and all these other big publishing companies. So I knew that it was important for me to start a publishing company. And with us, or with me, it's different because I like to walk people through every step. It's not, most of the bigger ones, they kind of just take over. I don't like doing that. I like for the author to be involved in their own process, unless they don't want to be, because you do have people who it's like, can you just write it? And then, well, you just write it. I just want you to write. Like they just want to tell their story. I ghost write it and then give it back to them. So that's kind of the process. Did that answer your question a little bit? That's the quick version. But you would just email me or visit the website and do like a contact thing, and then reach out to me. We'll do a consultation first, and then we'll talk about what your goals are, like when you want it released. And another thing is, it's good to, I've done books as last minute as, I wanted to come out in 2 weeks. I've done rush editing. I don't recommend it, but I always say the rule of thumb is at least have 2 or 3 months. You want at least 2 or 3 months before you can release it, because that gives enough time to edit, to market, to do your cover design and things like that. Because I work based off of the timeline. So if you come to me and say, hey, I want my book to come out in September, then I know that I have until this date to get the editing done. And I usually have it done before then. So yeah, you write, reach out to me, we edit, and then we publish. Did that answer your question?
Yes.
You're welcome, Tiny. Anybody else had a question on that, or nonprofit management, or anything nonprofit related?
Yes, this is both nonprofit and profit related.
Okay.
I know that I was doing major research for my brand. I have my LLC, but I do want to down the line get my nonprofit. But I want to do like because I'm opening up a school next year for like digital content and everything like that, like an e-school. And I'm looking to get it accredited fully, both for the US and abroad. So I want to know like doing programs and initiatives as far as like getting funded for your nonprofit and for profit. What I know programs help because that lets you know that hey, you're working in the community and everything like that, and people have access to like free resources. But how do you allow the finances to back your nonprofit? Like what do you go after as far as like grants and funding for your programs to elevate in different communities and everything like that?
Okay, so from a funding aspect, unfortunately, and I actually have a grant writing class later today, but unfortunately for the first 4 years, funding is extremely hard. And it's not to be a pessimist, you're not going to get very much funding within those first 4 years because you have to establish yourself first. And from me as a founder, even from me talking to grant writers, from people who actually have degrees in this stuff, it's well known. That's why I said most of them fail, that you're not going to get the type of funding that you're looking for or that you need within those first 4 years. You're going to have to come out of pocket for a lot of things. The first 2 years, it was completely me. And then we relied on like little donations or little sponsorships or maybe a few grants here and there. You can find your best bet is to find local grants, like small foundation grants. You won't be able to apply for any federal grants or anything like that until maybe like your 4th or 5th year. And then of course you're going to have to pay somebody to do that. It's going to be expensive. So your main source of funding would be, you need to push donations, you need to push your mission, you need to push your marketing, because now with TTM, what we're noticing is that people that we don't even know are doing like Facebook birthday fundraisers for us. They're we have a couple people that are like donating out of their check, and I don't even know how this is happening. Like it just happens. And so for one, you need somebody who's dedicated just to find funding. Like you need one person that you can dedicate to grant research or to getting grants or to getting funding, and then work from there. But majority of what you get will come for the nonprofit will come from smaller grants or smaller sponsorships, reaching out to businesses and things like that, trying to get them to help sponsor you, like HEB or Papados, or like restaurants or shoe stores and stuff like that. Like that's how we get a lot of our sponsorships, is we reach out to actual companies. Like maybe they can give you some gift cards or something you can raffle. So it's gonna be hard. That's why I tell people with a nonprofit, it's so difficult because you can't just sell a service and then get the money. You have to basically pitch to people like why their money is important to give to you. Like, why should I give my money to your nonprofit? What are you doing with your nonprofit that's different from everybody else's? What makes you stand out? So that is the advice as far as the funding on the nonprofit side. For the for-profit, they have grants for for-profits. I cannot think of the website where I just discovered they have grants for for-profits. I'm gonna send it to you. Let me think about it. But as far as the funding part, that's gonna be your biggest battle, especially if you're trying to do something like a school, or especially if you're trying to get accredited. That's gonna take a little while because there's certain things that they want to see. There's certain rules, legal rules that you have to follow, because you would have to get, of course, your tax exempt status first, but it's possible. So with that, I would say, because you would okay, I'm trying to see two things you could possibly do. You could do the school or the courses as a for-profit and do it that way and make money from it, but then have like a nonprofit aspect to it, where you're maybe possibly bringing in kids or people who are less fortunate, where you can teach them these courses as well. So kind of like a 2-in-1, like you have this already set, and now I'm going to create like a small nonprofit where I can help, educate the kids or help educate people in general that wouldn't have access to this information or who wouldn't be able to afford this information. Or you can partner with another nonprofit and say, hey, I have these digital courses. So like, say for instance, you partner with the Trouble Movement. I have these digital courses or these e-courses where I can teach this, this, and this to your kids or to your youth or to your whoever it is that you're serving. Even if you go to like a abuse survivor, domestic abuse organization, those survivors, they need a lot. They have a lot to learn. A lot of them don't know about finances. They don't know about a lot of things. So they're going to need to learn a lot. So you can go to them and say, hey, I have these classes and these services that I offer. I can offer them to your nonprofit. So you can either partner with one or you can do a 2-in-1 type deal. But if you want to keep them completely separate and do it like how you were saying with the accreditation and everything, then that's completely fine. Just make sure you're going to need at least like a 10-year plan. And it's going to take until about year 5 to see the actual shift in that.
You just plugged me. So I do want to say thank you for that. I do want to, I do have it on my list to do like workshops and seminars for at-risk people, like people that are coming out of prison, people that are, that are homeless, wanting to go in shelters, getting educated on things. So, I mean, you just opened up the door for me to partner with you.
Well, there you go.
Like my concept is if I don't have to do the groundwork to start a nonprofit, and if I can benefit to work with a nonprofit to teach people how to do graphic design, to teach them courses, to teach them how to get grounded, to teach them things that are going to be digital, open up their own apparel lines from the ground up with zero money, like things like that, to get entrepreneurs, because everybody that comes from a place that's broken, they want to grow, they want to aspire. So it's just like, if that door is open, give me the contract, whatever we got to sign, everything like that, and then let's just do it. Because my venture is to open up my own nonprofit, but I always want to just sit at somebody's feet to know what they're doing and grow from there. So
yeah, that's and that's the best way to do it. The best way, because people who come to me and say they want to start nonprofits, I say the best way to know about starting a nonprofit or want to know about a nonprofit is to join a nonprofit or work with the nonprofit. Like you need hands-on learning for that kind of stuff. It can't be taught. Like they have degrees for nonprofit management and nonprofit such and such. That type of stuff can be taught. You have to actually work under somebody and have a mentor that's going to show you the ropes kind of, and really get that hands-on experience, like be in there with them, like seeing what's going on day to day or what's going on. Like this is what it's really like in the inside. Because you can look at stuff on the outside, you can look at stuff on social media, but I promise you it's much different once you in there. And Christian can agree with that. She's the vice president, so she do more work than I do. The vice president doesn't get you a good vice president. Please get you a good vice president, because that is going to be your backbone of anything you have, any organization you start. Your vice president is going to be your backbone. So it's good to actually do, we call them strategic partnerships. So we work with other nonprofits, or we make work with like Strayer University or Harris County or HISD. We just have strategic partnerships. So that way we can all, I partner with 2 other nonprofits who have a different mission than me. So like a domestic abuse survivors, one does like feed the homeless. So we just all come together and kind of help with each other, but still staying separate at the same time. But yeah, I would try outsourcing your services, because I've had a couple people come to me like wanting to offer like courses or like teach them how to do such and such. So that's actually a thing.
Thank you. Yeah, you can, in your leisure time, you can go to my website, Mend the Vow. I have a lot of things that I'm teaching on there, but a lot of courses that I am having to come out to. So whenever you're ready to make that next move, I appreciate it though, for real.
Gotcha. I'll be seeing you. Don't think I don't be seeing you, because I'll be seeing you. I'll be watching. I'll be peeping. I know what's going on. I might not say nothing, but I'll be watching.
Same. That's why you're here. Same. I've been really an admirer of your work. Like not just because you're on here, just because like I think when I think I followed you when Sade was
Sade.
on Facebook, and I was just like, okay, your book drew me because that's part of my story. I'm just like, okay. And then when you it was just your transparency for me. It was nothing about, I didn't even know nothing about who you were as a person. It was just your transparency. I remember what locked me in to Maranda as the person, not even having to do with nothing that you did, is when you changed your cover photo and you said, he didn't break me.
Yeah.
I'm like, she bold.
I remember that.
Bold. I said she's bold to make that statement. And then I just start like aggressively, secretly, like following your mission, not posting, not commenting, not saying it, because I'm all like, wait a minute, I will admire somebody from afar in their work without, seeming like, okay, well, I just want to follow you to follow you. Like I learn from people. And in that, I can honestly say you gave me the courage to write like the stuff that I'm writing now. I always tell people, because I'm older, I always seem to like advocate for women, but then when women are out there advocating for every other voice too, not just okay saying I'm keeping this stuck on myself. And even when you came and you did your virtual gala, at first you was all like, okay, well, I'm not letting the pandemic, trust me, just like you watch, I watch too. I'm very aware of, the women that I'll house myself around like that influence what I do. Because a lot of people, they say, well, why would you let somebody influence you? You got good influential people that you may never meet in person or that you may have dealings with in business, but whatever they do that is good, I always want to tell people, let that enhance your life instead of, dragging it away. It doesn't matter if they're young, older, or indifferent. They may not serve the same lifestyle as you, but if they're doing something that is important to them and it's increasing their community, and you always go hard for your dad, and you always go hard for what you stand by, and you always go hard for your community, whether you're doing this or that, but you always do impose self-care too. I pay attention to women that I follow.
Yep.
So
and we need to pay more attention and uplift and collaborate instead of always competing with each other.
I agree.
That's a whole sermon. I'm not gonna take y'all to church today. I'm not gonna do it. But that is a whole thing. We gotta support each other. I talk about that on my YouTube channel. You're welcome, Larissa. I just saw your message. I hope it helps you start writing. I'm gonna keep picking on Marissa. That's the thing for me. Any event that I do, I always pick one person. Like one person I pick, and I just pick on that one person. And it's so funny. Larissa, it just happened to be you this time.
I accept.
Thank you. I do that every time. I pick on one person, and Larissa is my person.
You just prophesied friendship. And
See, look at that. I already said I was gonna slide in your DMs.
Love to see it.
Oh gosh. Any other questions that you guys have or that I can help with? I hope I helped. I'm glad I helped.
You did.
Yes, ma'am. You can send it to me. Candace.
So I was gonna say I do have some women that are writing their book and they're on the fence about like self-publishing. I am going to send them your way.
Okay.
And everything like that, because I stress to people, do not publish. Excuse me. Do not publish.
I thought that was me. I was like, what?
No, I always stress to publishers, to authors that are coming out, do not just jump on Amazon. I told them, because you know what? Anybody can sell a book, and I'm not, talking about people that are self-published on Amazon. If that's the way to go for you, then that's fine. But you can make $2 and then you can become a best-selling author just because they put that title on you to like streamline what they want people to see about you. But I always tell people like, I have the know-how and the skills to like allow you to even do the PDFs and, to make sure that you can have the digital downloads and even get like on an app to do like the Kindle version of Amazon. It's just best to go that way. but you broke it down and saying that traditional is still the way to go in the right hands. So that just makes me want to tell them about you. And also when I release my own books, because I've been following you for a while and I know that you are to be a woman of your word. So I will say this, that I'll take you on as my publisher, because
thank you. I appreciate that.
I know that I don't have to do all this work, because I don't have time. Other stuff that I want to do.
I'm anti-Amazon. I'm okay with Amazon ebooks, but I particularly don't like Amazon because when I first started, okay, Candace, I've been looking forward to it. When I first started, I did Lulu, which is a self-publishing website. It's a bunch of them out there. Amazon, Lulu, something monkey. I don't know. It's a bunch of them, but I went through that route, not knowing what to do, and it was a fail. That's why the book cover is a picture of that I took on my cell phone. My best friend took on my cell phone in front of my mama's house. Complete trash. Because I just didn't know what I was doing. And when I went to have my first book signing, and Christian will remember this because she's my publicist. I went to have my first book signing. Well, I don't know if she remembers this part, maybe so. I ordered, because mind you have to have your books in print for your book signing, right? I went to go order, I want to say like 100 or 200 books, and it nearly cost me like $1,000. And I was like, what? And the shipping was like 200, and they almost didn't get here on time. And because what Amazon does is they'll make you buy your books at full price and reimburse you the money 90 days later. So that's why I'm like, no, you go through a traditional publisher, or like with me, like I said, with me, I have a contract with a printing company. So, my book printing people, they actually, I say, here go one of my clients, and they print the books for me, and I give my clients their books. If my clients need to order more books, I can easily send them an email like, hey, my client, we need 50 more of this book. So Amazon, no, not really my thing. And their royalty split is garbage. Your book could be $20 and you may see like 11 or 12. That's ridiculous. That makes absolutely no sense. Versus you can buy books in print and sell them for $20. The book may cost like $2 to print, you're making $18. So, and that's the accounting and me talking. But that's also in the manuals that I have on my website that you can purchase. If you don't want to look at the training, you can get the PDF, and I break all of that down. But yeah, I'm with you on that Amazon thing.
I do have another question. Now, do you also distribute for magazines or just books? Like being a publisher?
Like actually on my website distribute them, or do I like publish them?
Like through, like, say for instance, because I am working on a magazine that is coming out next year, right? And so say for instance, if I'm like, okay, I'm going with you with my books, but I also want to bring my magazine to you because they're going to be released quarterly, and I might only want to have a few in print because it's going to be just a digital, but I might want some in print. So would you do that too, or would you just stay with books?
Oh no, I'm magazines too.
Oh, okay.
I do everything. I'm trying to get, I didn't used to do magazines, but I did one magazine, and then I also started doing like y'all know those coffee table books with the pictures in them. I do those as well. I love those, they're so fun. So I've started working more into magazines, coffee table books, like the photo-y type publications, media kit type things. Like everything, all of it. I want all of it. I'll take all of it. So yes, I can help with that as well. Because essentially it's the same process. It's a little different, but essentially it's pretty much the same process. Well, it's all publication at the end of
the day. Okay, thank you for answering that.
Oh, she put her name in. Oh, I thought, oops, I think I wrote that down. Okay. Okay. Anybody else have any questions? We talking about publishing. I actually got I do children's books too. I just want to, a lot of people don't know that I do children's books, but I do children's books as well. And like activity books, all that kind of stuff. Everything, like I said. Everything.
Hi, Miranda. This is Candace. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Wonderful. Thank you. I was having internet connection issues earlier, so I kind of cut in and out. But do you also publish, and you may have said it already, forgive me, devotionals?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yes, I do. You know, believe it or not, Candace, I want to say, hold on, because I've published a lot of books in my life. I want to say about 60% of the books that I've published are devotionals. I don't know, like 60% of the books I publish are devotionals. A lot of my my first clients and now are like pastors, or the one I don't know if you were on here where when I showed the website, but it was about 3 of them on there. Mostly, like I'd say 60% of the books that I've done are devotionals. I love it. I love editing devotionals. Yes, I do. I'm probably maybe the best at devotionals. Devotionals and nonfiction books I'm really good at. I'm really good at all of them, but devotionals, yes, ma'am. I got you on that one.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll be looking forward to your email, Miss Candy.
Yes, ma'am.
And anybody else on here that want to write, because I already saw that y'all want to do it, so do it. Do it. Miss Tanya, Miss Catherine.
Yes, this has been quite refreshing this afternoon to just actually listen in, because I started at the very beginning of the pandemic writing a book, and then the book sort of shifted to like a devotional, thinking about doing like, maybe a 30-day devotional, and then I put it down, and every now and then I just pick it up, and so
that is the, yeah, I understand. That's the number one. That is the number one issue. That's why I was telling y'all about getting an accountability partner, because that is one of the number one reason why a lot of people that want to publish books don't actually do them, is because they'll put it on the back burner. Yeah. And I talked about that in my workshop. They'll put it on the back burner because it's like, okay, I want to do it, but everything else seems to be more important, but not realizing what ended up happening with another one of my clients who did that. She put her book on the back burner, kept pushing it back. And, I'm a spiritual person. So God kept telling her, like, no, you need to finish this book. You need to finish this book. So she couldn't rest or relax until that book was finished. Because he's like, it was her story. It was her story mixed with a little devotional. And she wanted to write it so bad. It's just that everything got, she lost her motivation at one point, because you'll have people who will lose their motivation at one point. You'll have people who it's other stuff will happen in life, and then the book get put on the back burner. I've dealt with that with all my clients. And it's like I said, I'm gonna give you a little time, but at the end of the day, I'm still gonna be like, hey, what are you doing? Because you have to be held accountable. So I'm gonna need you to not do that no more, Miss Tanya. I'm gonna need you to go ahead and finish that thing for me. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna need to schedule it out. Okay. And if you give yourself a deadline, it helps too. So like a lot of people release books on like dates that are significant to them. I do that. A lot of my other clients do it. But if you give yourself a deadline and like say I know your deadline and I hold you accountable for that deadline, it's gonna help you want to finish it. But you have to like even write it big or whatever, like, okay, this is the deadline for my book, or this is the date that I want my book to be released. It's gonna push you to finish it. Okay. Yes, Miss Catherine, right on. I got all these featured authors up in here. Come on now. Christian will be an author too. I'm just gonna write her book for her. She just don't know it yet. I think I just kind of told her.
Hi, Miranda.
Hey, Miss Catherine, what's going on?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you. I gained a lot and gleaned a lot here from you as well with the book and with the non-for-profit. I did a collaboration book back in 2018
Mhm.
with a group of ladies to do, like you said, like a 30-day devotional. And I wrote 2 pages in there, and it does help to have a deadline and to have the accountability of the group to help to get that done. But they were able to push it, and it became a bestseller on Amazon because of the collaboration and everybody pushing to sell and stuff like that. But I haven't had the chance to write my own book. I've been writing for other people.
She like, it's my time.
Yeah. And I truly have a good story. It's a true story about myself and some of the trials and tribulations I went through being divorced and going through domestic violence. And so I began to write, and I got into it, and I got healed from it. And so I said, well, Lord, I said, maybe I need to turn this into like a self-help or some type of book because I have like deliverance ministry that's on my ministry. And I'm like, how do I turn this into something that they could use on a practical basis that's not, because I know everybody's doing devotionals. I wanted to do something where I can kind of stem off to make it a course to where, like you said, we can start a group and have them have a safe place to release. And so I'm trying to figure out if that's a manual or is that just a self-help book.
It's it's, I'm sorry to cut you off. It's both. So like with Renewed Strength, my second book is way over there, so I can't I don't think yeah, it's way over there. But with Renewed Strength, my second book, the first half of it was Common Causes of Pain. So the first half of it was my story. And so I did like love and relationships, abuse, loss, and grief. So the first part 1 of it was my story. So me kind of just going back and reflecting on my story with a little bit of motivational pieces in it. And the second half was the steps to becoming a survivor. So, you know, like step 1 was self-love, and the U in survivor was understanding your pain. The R was releasing your pain. Like each letter had a different step. And within that step, I gave like ways that you, so like for self-love, ways that you can practice self-love. And then at the end of that chapter, I gave like an assignment. So it was either questions or it was something that you had to do. So I think for that one, I may have done like take a moment, like list, okay, take yourself to get a massage or do this or do that, or take some time to take 5 minutes of yourself. And you'll need maybe a pen and a paper and a quiet space. Because I did it in a way where it was kind of like a recipe where it was like materials needed and then directions. So I told people, you know, taught them how to meditate or be in quiet spaces. So each one had either reflection questions or it had something that you had to do. So I understand exactly what you're saying. I would recommend that. I call it a motivational manual. That was something I made up because self-help just doesn't cover it.
Yeah,
Because I think other things when I think self-help versus motivational manual is kind of like, this is my story, and then motivation in the same one or devotion in the same one. So you can do both. I have a couple of clients that have done both, where it's like you kind of, because you want to share a little bit of your story too. You don't want to do a self-help book that is just about helping them. They want to know you as a person and as an author. So you kind of want to give them some stuff about your life as well.
Okay, that was good. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And then I had another question though. Say like with that self-help manual, if at some point I wanted to do like a voice MP3
Audiobook?
the meditation part to the book,
Okay.
how do you like merge the two to where they can get that? Or is that something you just put at the end of the book, you know, go to the link for the motivational audio part?
Are you wanted to do an audio book for the book, or you want to do something separate?
For the book, an audio part.
Okay, because you can do an audio book. So like my first book it comes in an audio book. So you just use Audible, which is ran through Amazon, or you can get somebody to produce it. You can do it on YouTube. There's multiple ways you can do it. If you maybe want to, because another thing a lot of people are doing that I considered was, you know, how people go to sleep to like meditation music and stuff like that, or I go to sleep to like Bible scriptures or something on YouTube. You can always make a YouTube video or do like some type of audio where you're either reading the book or you might be saying scriptures or something, and it doesn't have to be you. You can get somebody else to do it, and maybe have some type of calm music playing in the background. And then, like you said, it's easy as putting the link in there that says, hey, visit my YouTube channel here to hear the audio version that goes along with this book, or to hear meditation that can go along with this book. There's multiple ways you can do it. And then if you want just the book as an audio book, like read by somebody else, then you would go through what's called Audible. That's how I did it personally.
That's good. Thank you. I'll be in contact with you. Thank you. And thank
Yes,
you,
ma'am.
Marie, for inviting me on. I appreciate it. All right. And God bless you all the other ladies as well.
Thank you.
Success, more success.
So Miranda, I really thank you for coming in. I mean, you gave me a lot of insight with the process, because I'm going to admit, I know I hit my head against the wall a lot of times. I have to do, because I'm designing my own book covers. So I'm all like, okay, I have to design my book cover first. And then I did the outline. And then I'm like, okay, well, this is what I want to talk about, instead of just free writing and then worrying about the stuff later. So you gave me different perspectives. So I'ma just not even worry about the greater stuff and just write, like free writing and everything like that, and then worry about the stuff when it happens to bring everything together. So
yeah, that like your cover, like you doing your cover design, you did it too early. You should have waited. Like it's cool to design it out, but you want to kind of make sure, because what may happen is when you're writing, things may change. Like the same thing that you wanted to write now might not be your mind, your heart, and your spirit might want to say something else. So that's why I tell people, try not to come up with the title or the cover too early until you finish writing, because you may want to change some things. You may want to change the title around. You maybe, the spirit is giving you a different kind of cover, or a different cover with a different look. So that's why I say write first. And once you write, then everything else kind of falls into place.
That's true. I'm listening, but then I have to detach what I do.
Yeah.
As a designer, and then I try to put myself in that position. So I need to outsource that too, because what I want might not be, like you said, what cover I want later. So I really am taking myself out the equation, and I'm really going to sit down today after this ends and plan out some writing times.
Yeah, you like me, you trying to do everything.
Yep.
Can't do everything. Focus, not in this instance. In this instance, focus on the writing. Like that's your part. Everything else kind of, step back from it. So you can focus. That's why you can't focus and get out that office and go to the coffee shop.
I'm gonna do that tomorrow morning. I really am.
All right.
And accountable, I'm gonna put it in my stories.
I was gonna say, I need to see you post, and then before you cut off your phone, because you gotta get put your technology down. I need to see a boomerang or some coffee and some tablets or something, and then you can get off social media and finish.
Yeah, because I even bought another computer just dedicated to my writing with nothing else. So
see, you already got all the equipment. Now you just need to do it.
I'm gonna take it off of my desk, because it's dedicated right here too. I'm gonna take it off and put it in my backpack, because I'm like, well, maybe I can write right here and still do work. And they don't work together like that.
No, that's not how they work, baby. Nope.
I know you poured out a lot, and I'm thankful to have you here. I will make this available. I want to say for people to view either on my Facebook page or YouTube, so people can get more insight. And I'll put all of your information down there. It's going to be available sometime next week. I'm just waiting for the other speakers as well.
Okay.
And I'm excited. I'm grateful just for the nuggets that you dropped off to us. I'm also thankful for just everyone being here. And oh, just before you go, you have to turn back over the host to me because I am recording this. I don't want it to drop off. I forgot to say that because I don't want it to.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay.
And I am going to let you close out, whether you do that in prayer or whether you just want to leave us with some more nuggets. However you want to end this, that's fine.
Okay. It is transfer you as the host?
Yes.
Okay. All righty. Well, thank you all for attending and thank you for having me so much. And I hope that all of you are able to reach your goals. I pray that God touches you, that he touches your heart and your mind and your body and your spirit to be able to do what he has called you to do in your purpose, whether it is writing, speaking, running a nonprofit, running a business, or just simply being you. May he touch each and every one of your souls for you to be successful and bring you an abundance of blessings. I am here should you need any motivation or any love or any insight or any services. Thank you to Jeree for putting on this event. Thank you to Catherine and Tanya and Candice and Christian and Larissa who have attended. May he touch each and every one of your hearts. And I love you guys and I thank you.
Thank you. Be sure to join us tomorrow. Barbara Franklin will be coming in. She'll be talking about governmental contracts and also how to lead in education. So we'll begin tomorrow at 2:15, but I'll be in here at 1 o'clock just to give people a revamp because other people are showing up that has not shown up Tuesday and Wednesday because everybody has different, timings and everything like that. So I appreciate everyone coming and I will end this recording. God bless you all. If anybody didn't have anything else to add, was it more comments that needed to be read?
They were just saying thank you. You're welcome, guys. God bless you all. And she said, thank you, Jeree. This is beautiful.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Bye.